On the air dryers, the configuration of the air dryers will change and varies from site to site based on how much room we have for drip space, how many arches we're able to put in, what our clearance is to the tunnel, and even what our horsepower requirements are. The blowers are available in 10 horse and 15 horsepower motors. They come with different blades to achieve the different airflows. And then, as you can see on this one here, we're allowed to put them on the top, what we call clockwise, counterclockwise. On the sides, scrolled over the top. On the top, scrolled outside to get the gutter rails, the tall SUVs. And in some configurations, we have a scrolled under the bottom, where this would be reversed, and the nozzle, instead of coming over the top of the blower, would be coming under the bottom of the blower, showing right here. This design here is set up because it's such a short tunnel and a short space. We've got 115 here and then 5 in the last arch to help clean and finish the vehicle. We're doing everything from the top down because it's an exterior wash. We're trying to make sure we have the top of the car, the glass, the windows, all that dry. If we leave anything wet here, it'll be the bottom of the rocker panel, which by the time they get home should be dry just from moving down the road. As you can see on the air dryers, we've got rotational arrows that are both in decal form on the back panel. They're also determined by the scroll of the housing. We want to spin the blades so that the centrifugal force and the top over is coming towards the side of the nozzle that's down. Look at the blower housing from the motor side. You'll see the nozzle is on the left-hand side, so the rotation would be counterclockwise, and that would be a green impeller. We look at the one up top here. The outlet is on the right-hand side, so that would be a clockwise rotation. And that's how we determine our clockwise and counterclockwise. Once the motors are installed, we've put a lot of decals on them to try to help manage the installation of the motors. One of them says that there are condensation drains in 3 positions on the motors, and that's where you see these blue plugs are. When we set it up, the motor's always set up so that they're plugging the left and the right, and the one that's open is the one at the bottom of the mount. If they're mounted in a side configuration, like you see these here, the plugs need to be pulled out and relocated to the other side. The reason for the plugs is it's a condensation drain. We want to be able to wash down. We know we're going to have water in a car wash. We want to be able to plug all the other holes, but allow the condensation to drain out no matter which position it's mounted in. So once these are removed, then they need to be reinstalled. So once we've taken them out of the bottom, we need to reinstall them on the side just by pushing them in on the 2 side mounts that we have. This one could be a little tougher. So now we've returned both of our plugs back to where they need to be to prevent water intrusion for cleaning. Yet if we get condensation or moisture buildup in there, it'll automatically drain out to keep it dry. We need to check all the motors to make sure that the plugs have been pulled out and relocated. A couple of notes about the air dryers. All motors come with the grease fitting. Grease fittings are designed on an electric motor to be greased based on hours of use. After determining the cycle time in an average car wash, if they were to run 6 hours a day, the grease cycle time for the motor, according to the manufacturer, would be once a year. And once a year, they're talking about a few ounces of grease. So again, 3 to 4 pumps, but on a yearly basis. The grease fittings are always located on the top of the motor. And even though this one here looks like the side, it's because of the way it's mounted, always opposite the base plate. So you got 2 grease fittings, a front and back bearing. Okay? And again, once a year would be the recommended greasing. Not to over-grease them, because then it could cause excessive heat and premature wear on the motors themselves. The wiring connections should always be done with a split bolt connector, not a wire nut. Especially when they're wired at low voltage, 208, 230 volts, because of the size of the wire and the amperage draw and the heat. We recommend they're done with a split lug connector opposed to a regular wire nut.